I'm going to be talking, and then I'm going to be channeling and talking, but I'm also going to leave space for questions. And so at the bottom of your screen, you've got a chat button. So if you want to ask a question, you can write a message there, either privately to me, or Gary is also on, or to the group, and I'll try to watch those in between channeling and then get to any questions that we have. But I think all of us can absolutely agree that 2020 has been probably the most crazy year that we have experienced in this lifetime. I don't need to remind you all of that, the chaos, but we really are seeking clarity. And that's what I want to talk a little bit about today, is what we're feeling, what's happening, what are some steps that we can do to be active in our own journey? Because sometimes we feel that the energy is happening to us and that we don't have a say in it at all. We feel that there's no control, but then the reality is do we really ever have control over universal events anyway, right? What we do have control over is our emotions, our mental thoughts, our behaviors, the intents that we put out into the world, and that empowers us. So many of you might be feeling disempowered, or you feel like, how did we even get here? How do we get to this point where we've lost our path, or lost our road, or lost our voice, or lost, and I hear that word a lot, but I want to offer you to look at reframing that a little bit today. Because honestly, the world does feel pretty chaotic right now. It does feel like it's out of control, and it's really shaking our emotions and having us really challenge our beliefs. It's causing us to really re-educate ourselves or omit what we thought to be true. If that makes sense, I'm going to say that once more. It's re-educate ourselves or omit what we thought to be true, because what we thought to be true really isn't the truth. This is a time to be really conscious of where you are in your life, both physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, to be very, very aware. A lot of the chaotic feelings that we're feeling are drawing us away, or drawing us outside of our sovereignty, are drawing us outside of our own energy field. And many of us might be feeling we just want to shut down or tune out. We just want to sleep or bury ourselves in a book or movies or those types of things. I see a few of you nodding to this. When honestly, the universe is screaming at us to listen. Not just gently nudging, not just even like kicking us in the backside, but it is screaming at us to listen. And alongside of the listening, it's also screaming at us to act as we've never acted before. So 2020 is hitting us in those areas of internal and external, and it is meant to shake us up. And thank you to all the souls that have gotten us to this point today, all the sacrifices that were made to create turmoil, to create the events. I can feel the emotion rise up in me. All the souls that raised their hand to bring awareness to some of the events that are happening and will continue to happen in the world. And we know this is not perfect. When I think of, I remember back the end of 2019, and I was really excited. It's like 2020, that in itself is really a cool number, right? 2020, it's a promise of clarity. It's a promise of vision. When we get our eyes checked, we want perfect vision. But really we can say it's not perfect vision. It feels very clouded. It's left us confused, but it is giving us an opportunity to look hindsight. And I want you to hold on to that phrase, that hindsight is 2020. Hindsight brings us clarity. Hindsight brings us the power, the things that need to be changed or shifted. And that's the reason that we're experiencing many of the things that we're experiencing now. It's hindsight is going to be the reason, or is going to be the energy that pushes us to do something different, right? It's, if you've ever gone through a situation and you say, oh, I wish I wouldn't have said that, or I wish I wouldn't have done that, or I wish I would have done something different. Well, pay attention to what's happening right now, because the universe is screaming or giving us that opportunity to learn from some of these things and to course correct or to set our vision correct. And I want to talk just a little bit about the earth. There's not just our political environment, the pandemic, the world events that are happening, but the earth is also screaming, and we can feel that, right? Here in Minnesota, I know I've got some out-of-state people, but here in Minnesota, we just had like the earliest snow ever, right? And there's hurricanes and fires, and I can look at the globe, and there's events happening all over. Well, we know that the earth vibrates at the heart frequency, and those things not of the heart energy are going to blow up, even get destroyed. Okay. And I'm not saying that like some of the beautiful forests and the lands, that they're a bad vibration, but earth is responding to what's happening in the emotional field of individuals. We can't be separate from collective consciousness. We can't be separate from the earth. So the earth is actually responding. But the reality is we get to heal that too. And everything is about healing our soul, understanding our soul journey, what you're learning right now, and what you've learned in 2020 is all about healing those deep things in your life. And the collective conscious becomes collective by individuals joining together. So your individual energy joins a collective in order to change a collective consciousness. So know your heart essence, know your heart vibration, know where your collective consciousness is and join that. It's where you are not aligned that the universe is going to show you you're not aligned. Does that make sense? Where you're not aligned, that's where you're going to have the most turmoil, the most challenges, the most heartache. That is where the universe wants us to focus a healthy energy. And we see this, people are arguing. I don't remember a time ever in my life that I've seen so many people arguing or publicly fighting. There's such separation of heart and humans, and I see energy. And so when I see events on social media, or if I watch little clips or that type of thing, I see energy, and it makes me so sad. I don't know why I'm being so emotional today. It's just this energy that we all want to stop. We all want to move back into a place of love and a place of light. And so oftentimes when we feel that separation, we see that separation, it feels like things are falling apart, right? We feel the separation between our humanness and the heart. And again, we're seeing that in Earth. And I'm wondering if you are seeing this connection too. Are the skies angry with rain and snow? Are the skies crying? Is Earth shaking? Is Earth reacting to our anger or our reaction or our response? And now the truth is we are 8 or 9 months into this pandemic or this shutdown, and many of you are losing steam. Anyone feeling that? That you're just losing steam. It's like losing that hope or losing that spark, shutting down or tuning out. Well, again, I want to remind you, you're needed. You're here and you're needed. And I want to infuse that love and that spark into you today, is like you're needed. You can't tune out. You can't shut down. You have to step up. Okay? We need your energy. And I know this month the topic is conscious activism, and I want to talk about the spirit, our energy of spiritual activism. How do we take our heart energy and be active and activate others around us in a heart-centered way? Okay? And that's what the divine is saying. That's what the channeling, what they're telling me, is that we need this divine light. We need this connected heart more than anything. And yes, you do need to get out and vote, but the universe is also asking you to do more in the heart-centered energy. And sometimes we feel helpless in this. If there's events that are happening in another state or another city or across the world, we honestly feel very helpless. But observe that. Observe what is needing to be healed and know that you're a part of that. Be a part of the collective consciousness for healing that. Choose to be a part of a collective heart consciousness to send healing. Okay? Know that what is happening outside in the world is the turmoil of the inward souls. The things that we're seeing outward in the world are the turmoil of the inward souls, past, present, and future. We often think of past and present, but actually it's aligning or it's directing us for the future. So those that are wanting to control, it's activating things within them from a past lifetime that they're feeling the need to, for whatever reason, to control. Those that are feeling the need to protect or to shield or to fight, there's energy in the air that's actually activating that energy in order for them to change it. Not repeat it, but to change it. And so some of us can sit back in shock and look at what's happening, but the reality is it's those souls belong to a collective consciousness that are coming forward with the purpose of trying to change that. But they might not be hearing that message. So that's where they need us to send that light and that love energy to that disruptive energy to shift it. So if you observe it, I know sometimes we observe in shock and then we want to shut down, but I'm going to ask you, observe it, recognize it, and then send it healing energy, because its purpose is to come to our visibility. You're seeing it for a reason. If you weren't meant to do something about it or to at least put some love energy to it, you wouldn't be seeing it at all. It wouldn't be on your radar. Something in your soul has asked you to step forward and do something. And I think of, as I was sitting last night and this morning meditating about this, I had a couple of visions that reminded me, and I'm smiling because if you've ever gone hiking and you're out hiking and you're minding your own business and all of a sudden you get snagged by a tree. It catches your clothes or it scratches you. It literally is nature is grabbing you. Or how about if you've been walking and all of a sudden you just trip? There's perfectly flat carpet or flat cement or flat sidewalk, but you just trip. This is what I call it's nature reaching out, or the energy or the angels reaching out to you to grab you, to get your attention. And that's what's happening now. We can equate that in the world is like the universe is reaching out and grabbing us during this time, during this era. And I talk about an era because this has been a long time in coming, in changing. I've been talking about the Pluto influence for quite a few years, and Pluto is all about death and rebirth, or destruction and rebirth and change. And so we've been in this energy for a long time. But we're also carrying a bigger torch to change things for the future. And that's sometimes what we forget too. And we're being tested in that. So tested, like this would be like if you went through junior high, senior high, and college and you didn't do any assignments, you didn't do any quizzes, tests, finals, and now here you are, you have to do all of it today. So it's all coming down on us. We're facing the test, what I'm calling is like the test of a lifetime. We're feeling that pressure, and that's where many of you are feeling maybe helpless or feeling out of control or feeling, I don't know what to do. But again, get into the collective, direct your energy to be very succinct in where you want your energy to go. I always find myself, and maybe this is my corporate, my IT background, we're taught to ask the 5 whys. You just keep asking why. Our kids have this ingrained in them. Our kids start asking why at a very young age. But somewhere between childhood and adult, we sometimes stop asking that why. And so for now, it's start asking why. What is happening? What's happening out in the world, and how does that match what's happening inside here? Because it does. Think this week, if you're in Minnesota, if you experienced this snowstorm, how did you feel? And did that match what was maybe going on in your heart? Did you feel excited about the snow, or did you feel dread? It's mirroring what's happening. And then I always look at, of course, where the planets are, because the planets are a sky map to what's happening. And then I look at the relationships, and I look, whether it's through my clients or whether it's through friends, it's like what's happening, because we're always getting messages as to where we are right now, but also what's coming. And I understand that I am never separate. I am never helpless. And that's empowering. I'm never separate. So things that are happening in another part of the state or another part of the country, I'm not separate from that. Everything is energy. And because I live in this lifetime right now, I am part of that energy. And I'm not helpless to just allow something to happen over there because it's happening to them. It's happening to me because I'm part of the collective energy. And I have to choose that, right? I get to choose, and I love to choose. Where do I send my prayers? Who do I hold space for? Who do I ask the angels to go surround? And know that this is happening to all of us. And we can't separate our energy. We're becoming too evolved as human souls to separate our individual. And I think the lessons that many of us have been going through since, I'm going to say some started in 2014. A lot of you jumped on board in 2017, doing a lot of the internal work. But now we're doing a lot of external work. We're doing collective work. And because we're part of all these groups, we've been kind of tagging along. So example, sorry, I have a noisy kitty here. Sorry, if you are part of a group, let's say you're a nurse, you're part of a collective consciousness, and you've been in that group simply because you have been in that profession. You're coming along. But we're also understanding that we have choices as to other groups that we can belong to, spiritual groups. You're all here today. And there's a message here for you, or there's an energy here for you. It's a decision that you made. And just because I don't see the physical world, or I don't see things happening in the physical world, I don't see somebody else, what's happening to them, doesn't mean it's not in my energy field. Does that make sense? As a small child, I was seeing angels and guides. I was seeing stuff before I really knew what it was. I was seeing stuff as a child. And I still see stuff. Yeah, I can laugh at myself. It's like I've always seen stuff. But the reality is I can see stuff if I'm sitting in Minneapolis, or I can see stuff if I'm sitting in Minneapolis and it's happening on the other side of the world. I'm part of that vibration. And that's the powerful beings that we are. In our human journey, we're experiencing the human physical being. And we understand we've got that etheric layer around us that protects us. We have an emotional body. We have the mental body. We are beginning to understand we're more than just our physical body. Because by the time we feel something in our physical body, there's a lot happening outside of us. But we're becoming more evolved in exploring those other layers, really exploring the emotional layer, getting comfortable with our emotions. And that's not easy sometimes, but we're getting comfortable and we're using our emotions to gauge exactly where we need to be. We're learning about our emotions by having experiences, and that's what 2020 also continues to show us is, I'll tell you, I personally experienced emotions I didn't even know I had in 2020. They brought them up to the surface, almost like an illness. When you get sick, it's just like you have to get sick. You have to get it out of you. And that's what 2020, the gift of some of this has given us, is it's shown us some of the toxicity that we've had that we didn't even know was there. It's allowing us to explore different ways to then heal that toxicity, right? And that then moves away from our emotional body into our mental body. And what I'm seeing in people is that we're now understanding our energy bodies, but our energy bodies, the emotional and the mental, are starting to really blend. Our mental filters and beliefs are being challenged. They're being challenged right up against the emotion. There's no separation between the emotional field and the mental field. And we're searching for that truth. We're searching for our truth. And as those things merge, we begin to say things like, I'm feeling very balanced in my decisions. We're no longer saying like, oh, it was an emotional decision, or it was a snap decision, or we no longer are making decisions because we analyzed the heck out of the situation and it was just the right thing to do because the data showed us that. We're becoming more balanced in what's aligned for me between my emotions and my mental being, and what's best for the collective consciousness that I'm a part of. Think about when you walk or when you move, you don't even have to think about it, right? When you walk, it's like pause for a moment and just like your legs just seem to know you want to get up and go to the kitchen. It's like it happens so quickly. And you think about everything that has to fit together, the tissue, the ligaments, the blood, the bones, the nerve endings. We don't even think about it. Those are billions of cells that are orchestrating together at a nano, or not even a nanosecond. It just happens, and there's magic. And that's where we're moving to, is how do we change our systems so that we start to move in a different direction, so that we get out of just moving out of habit, or just out of, it's been something that we've been doing for lifetimes. How do we understand that emotions can take over our mental thoughts? And then we simply have an emotional response, or our mental processes can take over our emotions. And how do we begin to blend those together? But that's what our evolution is all about, that blending. And as we begin to blend between the emotional and the mental, that's actually where we stop fighting each other, or we stop knocking each other down, and we start coming into more of alignment. It's not by habit, or it's not by our past experience, or it's not by a deeply rooted belief that's actually from a lifetime before, but it's by being a well-developed human energetic being. It's transformed in our emotions and our intellect. So we make conscious actions. And I think about, I always ask the whys, right? Why are we experiencing this now? Well, simply because it's time. We've had enough of the lifetimes of being quiet or numb, but I think many of us have been working through the layers of our emotional fields and our mental fields for lifetimes, and it's kind of like all the tests, all the quizzes, all the studying is now. It's like there's no more second chances. There's no more avoiding it. And yesterday, as I was preparing, they reminded me that we're actually living or going through the laws of the universe now. The laws of the universe really govern our experience and govern our evolution. It's not the material things that we have. It's not the number of likes that we have on social media. It's based on our contribution to the energy of ourself to the collective. That's what the universe measures. I'm going to say that one more time. It's based on our contribution of energy of self to the collective energy. It's where you focus your energy. And we're being asked to decide, where are we focusing? So there's 7 laws of the universe. There's different variations. I'm going to go through the 7 that I am most familiar with and am guided by. And I want you just to think about them and think about what you might be experiencing or have experienced in your life that's testing or showing you something about this law of the universe. So number one, very easy. The law of vibration states that everything vibrates and nothing rests. So even though you might feel like you're hunkered down, you're restless, you're doing things. Even if you're watching TV, even if you're reading a book, you're doing things and you are evolving. Nothing rests. Everything changes. 2, the law of relativity states that nothing is what it is until you relate it to something. It's your point of view is determined by what the observer is relating to. And we know that when we see something, it changes. We relate it to something, and at that time we have a moment in time that we can bounce it against our truths, we can bounce it against our heart, we can bounce it against our collective consciousness to decide how relative it is to us, and then what's the action. So think about the events of this summer and the things that you observed, and how did you relate it to something else that maybe you experienced or didn't experience ever before in this lifetime? Chances are you experienced it in a previous lifetime and you're trying to relate it, but it gives us that opportunity to change our point of view. 3 is the law of cause and effect, and that states that for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. Every cause has an effect, and every effect has a cause, and all energies remain in balance. And so when we feel this polarity, it's like this is just more light coming into the planet, and it's shining on that darkness in order to bring more balance of humanitarian heartness to us. But I also think about situations such as if we're feeling more chaotic here, let's say in Minnesota, the United States, there might be places in the world that are feeling less chaotic. There might be some sort of balance in that. And 4 is the law of polarity, states that everything has an opposite. And I just mentioned we're seeing this polarity. Hot, cold, light and dark, up, down, good, bad. In the absence of that which you are not, that which you are is not. And we use polarity to see that which we are not, so that we can change it. 5, the law of rhythm states that everything has a natural cycle. And I'm going to go right into number 6. The law of gestation states that everything takes time to manifest, and all things have a beginning, grow into form, add more energy as it's added to it. And that's where we are now. So the law of rhythm and the law of gestation, this is where we are right now. We're always in a cycle. It's time to manifest. There's things that are dying out, or things that no longer fit us as a society, or no longer fit us as human beings. They're more third dimension things. And as we move into higher frequencies and want to experience those other dimensions, they need to fall away. And so there's endings to that. And so endings to that can be when you observe something and then you make a conscious decision to step into a different lane or step into something different. And 7, the law of transmutation states that energy moves in and out of physical form. Your thoughts are creative energy, and the more you focus your thinking on what you desire, the more you harness your creative power to move that energy into results into your life. And I would just add to that, our hearts, I would say this stands true when our mental field and our emotional fields are blended. But as long as we still have separation and the heart is separate, we can't think our way into anything. As much as we might try to think into a solution, we have to feel into a solution. They need to come together. So a question on that. So, a question is, how do we move forward and experience the collective when we're so isolated? Well, isolation is a frame of mind. It's our definition. It's different. And so, how do we use the situation that we're in and create different ways of being out? How do we reach out? This is the one the one time where technology is to our advantage, right? And technology was actually going down a wrong path. We were using it to become numb, using it to avoid. And now we can use technology to do this, right? You're in my office, I'm in your homes. We can connect this way. So technology can be used in a different way. Okay? It's also reaching out, and I do believe, one of the things, and I'm going to talk a little bit about 2021 and what's ahead, but what I'm seeing is oftentimes when I work with clients, I'm seeing the magic, and there's some magic of new things that are coming in, the new gifts that are coming in, and to be open to that, to be able to, pivot is the big buzzword now, to pivot into something else, but I call it into more of an alignment of just simply where are we, and how do we invent or create those groups or those businesses or those gatherings that can accommodate the need of our soul, but also, fulfill or accommodate what's happening in the world. So that's a great question. And again, we're so powerful. So if you feel isolated, that's your emotion. You're identifying that emotion, but then activate the mental part of your being and blend those together and take action on that. Because the universe, again, is screaming to us to take action, to not just stop at the emotion and just say, I'm so sad, but to take action in it. So whether you find it easy or hard in the situation and how we got here, what we're experiencing, we get to believe that there has some purpose and reason to it. And not all of you might be there yet. It's the understanding that there's purpose and there's reason, and there is a mission and a map, and we all have roles and responsibilities and impacts to each other. And that's the powerful that we are. And I think in this lifetime, more so than other lifetimes, we do have that choice. It feels like we're helpless. It feels like we're hopeless or don't have power. What that's doing for you is just triggering something in you from a past lifetime or even a this lifetime imprint where you felt powerless or where you felt you didn't have control. That's what it's meant to do. And the opportunity is to tap into something different. This is a healing lifetime for all of you. It's healing and knocking away those historical things of not having choice or not having power. Okay? And again, the law of gestation says that everything takes time to manifest. And it might not be that it's going to happen tomorrow. It might be that it's going to take a while, but everything takes time. As long as we're putting our energy out into that force field, it's going to go in that direction. I know you're tired. I know that you are asking, when is this going to end? And I bet I haven't looked. When is it going to end? It's interesting, about a year ago or about 18 months ago, people would ask me, like, when is their personal journey going to end? I would hear that question, like, I'm in so much personal turmoil or personal change, when is it going to end? And now, think about that. We went from internal to now external. Now we're asking that question, where is the external stuff going to end? Anyone realize just the flip of that in just a year's amount of time? And the reality is that we're not separate from that. The universe and the earth is just responding to all that internal turmoil. And I don't want to say We were the cause of all that's going on because it's meant to heal. But it's to understand that we don't have this separation, that we're so connected. And we'll end this year, it's already near the end of October. We'll end this year learning so many lessons. And again, sit with that term, hindsight is 2020. Really do some internal and some external viewing, like what were the gifts of 2020, both the personal and the public. It is a time of reflection. The fall season is about time of reflection. And then when we go into winter, at the winter solstice, we start gathering with the elders and the ancients and that part of the season. But right now we're in that place of reflection. And this year also was a big year for letting go of things. The simple things of closet cleaning to also letting go of beliefs and emotions, letting go of things that maybe were had become too comfortable in our field. And what Spirit says is we can't get too comfortable because the law of vibration states that everything changes. Everything vibrates, nothing rests. So just a reminder, don't get too comfortable because the wheels of change, they're still turning. And we've got a lot of years ahead of us. The wheels of change are going to continue to change. We're going to continue to evolve into 2021. Honestly, I looked at astrology this last week and it looks like all the way out to 2026, to April, we're going to be in this place of change. And honestly, some of us are just a little bit slower on the track of change. And so we will be in this place of change for quite a while. All right, I'm just looking at questions. Good exercises for connecting to the heart. At the end here, I'm going to do a meditation. I'm going to do a heart connecting meditation for you. But the easy things is because Earth vibrates at the heart vibration to get outside. Now I know it's maybe a little bit more difficult because of the pandemic and also the weather that's coming in. But if you can bring some earth elements into your home, right now I have my feet on a big old rock. I'm using a rock. It's actually from the Lake Superior area just to get grounded. So to bring elements of the outside in, whether it's a rock, whether it's a plant, animals in the house are really good. It's also to realize that you're never fully disconnected from the divine heart. And so sometimes I'll just close my eyes and I'll take a deep breath and I'll imagine just this big beam of white light, which I associate with the angels coming in to just give me a hug, to connect me or reconnect me with my heart. And I want to mention that, there's good things to look forward to. We've been in a whole year of planetary retrogrades, and the retrogrades are meant to have us go more internally. We're human data gatherers, and when the planets are going in their normal rotation, we gather data. And when there's so much happening in the world, our observation, we gather data. And so when we go into a retrograde, we're meant to process that data and to kind of sift and sort through what makes sense to us. Okay? And so there's been a lot of planets that have been retrograde. And Mars is it's a very masculine planet, but it's things should begin to shift and move forward because Mars is about action. And Mars has been retrograde, but it's moving forward November 13th. And so we get a little bit of push from that planet, from the masculine energy of wanting to do things. So if you've noticed that your energy is kind of been pulled back, or you haven't felt a lot of energy, I heard the other day a term. It was called Corona Coaster. It was used as a noun. Have you heard that? It's the ups and downs of a pandemic. One day you're loving your bubble, doing workouts, making banana bread, going for long walks, and the next day you're crying, drinking gin for breakfast, and missing people you don't even like. So I thought we're getting a whole new vocabulary with this year. I'll be curious to see what words are out and what new words are coming in. I always like to look at that in January, where the Webster defines the words that are out. But Mars is going to help us because we've been feeling kind of stuck. We've been feeling kind of non-energetic, and I think part of it is COVID fatigue. I think it is we are as a people, we're energetic, we're vibration, and again, everything vibrates, nothing rests. In our human experience, over time and over lifetimes, we have become so accustomed to moving and using that vibration to move, to work, to go do things. And this time that we're in, it's asking us to use our vibration to go internal, to connect with our organs, to connect with our heart, to connect with our breathing. Right? We associate vibration. I bet when I said vibration, we associate vibration with the doing parts of things, the things that we can see. But we're vibration, and so during this retrograde season, it's actually going internal. So we will experience some more clashes with the planets, and so we can expect clashes. Anytime I see like a clash or planets sitting on top of each other, they're interacting, and it plays out in society. And there is a clash that's coming up. It's actually, it's like January, mid-January, late January, January 17th or so, around that time period, between Saturn and Uranus. And Uranus is the planet of change and revolution. It's about breaking free and awakening. And that's been retrograde most of this year, Uranus. Think about what we're breaking free, what we're awakening to, what we're being shown. And the message around that is the less you resist the change of 2021, the more you allow, just the easier it's going to be, because it's going to point you in a direction where it's aligned, where it's more aligned. It's, so look for that in early January. If things feel like it's disrupting or something goes away, look for the direction. It might point you in a whole new direction. This will be the time that a whole new career, a whole new opportunity pops in. And rather than holding on and saying, you know, that's where the mind walks in and says, but I went to college for this and I make a good income on this, and those types of things, it locks us into those decisions. But it's pay attention. And Uranus and Saturn, that interaction. So Saturn is the planet of hard work and karma. Karma, right? And we've been working through karma this whole year. But he's demanding the best of you in 2020. So where you are not aligned and where you have not really worked through that karma, those past lifetimes, it has the potential of hitting you. I don't want to scare you, but it is an opportunity. But there's also a lot of this energy of making it happen and motivational energy. And that's Jupiter. And Jupiter comes in also in January. And that's the exciting thing about, we're in an election year. We're in a year of really wanting to get moving. And we can look at January as a big change. I don't have to look at the candidates or anything. I'm looking at the planets, and I'm saying the planets are calling for a big change, whatever that means in our leadership. So where do you already know this to be true? Because the universe is dropping seeds to you right now. So if you're getting this inkling about, maybe I should do this, maybe I should pay attention to this, January is not that far away. And usually as the planets start to move into their interaction with each other, we start to get clues and clues until we honestly almost get hammered on top. Look to where you feel the least stable in your life. Where do you need to take action so you feel more stable? Is it your health? Is it where you live? Is it your career? Is it your relationships? What are the things that make you feel stable? Because I think that's where That's kind of the messages that we're getting. This is a time, the messages are about waking up to something you've been trying to avoid. Just like this whole year has been screaming at us to pay attention, to wake up to something that has been there that we haven't seen or we've been avoiding, we haven't wanted to see, we still have personal things that we're addressing. Again, this could be in your finances, it could be in your career, it could be your relationships, it can be in yourself, how you are in life, how you perceive you should be in life. And it could be the skills that you're being asked to pick up. It could be your aspirations, or maybe it's a dream that you have. And I know we're missing our friends and family. We're missing that human touch. You know, we're missing, especially as we go into the winter months, we're really going to miss the ability to be outside in weather. And so it's going to require us to dig a little bit deeper and to connect with our heart light. And I do believe that we get into late summer, fall of 2021, all this pent up energy is going to burst forward. So I know that feels like it's so far away, but did you ever think 8 months ago that you'd be sitting here today and say, wow, we've been in this kind of this lockdown for 8 months? I mean, the time does go kind of fast. And keep in mind, time is irrelevant in the other dimensions. But by late summer of fall of 2021, expect more of this pent up energy. So all the ideas or the creative thoughts or the things that you're thinking of now, be on the early. Some of you are like the early runners. I call them the light runners, because it's like you run ahead of the group with a torch. Some of you are getting those messages now for business ideas, new health ideas, new things. So if you're getting those messages, pay attention, okay? And really, 2022 is a new frontier. It really is a time where there's new modalities, new thoughts, new patterns, it just gives us that time. That's really the new frontier. So I like to think about it when I was channeling this, and I'm just like, seriously, 2021. I mean, that's really where I went first. I had that emotional reaction, and then I popped back into my mental and just said, wait a minute. You know, I'm not going to get wrapped up and stop at the emotional. I'm going to direct my energy into something more positive. So it is to interrupt that and to then get into action. So as we wind down 2020, you know, as we come into the next couple of weeks, and what I've been hearing is like the next 12 weeks are kind of tough. I don't want to say tough, only if we believe that they're tough. Only if we give that emotion to it. Be the collective consciousness. Be active in your conscious energy as to where you're directing it. And if we're experiencing public turmoil, certainly have an emotional response to it, but then be very conscious in sending a prayer, sending some love, sending some light, just a quick zap of energy to that. I'm just looking for questions here. Do you have any suggestions for managing fear around making changes, you know, and feel you need to make? Fear is a big one. Thank you for asking that question. Fear really is like the toughest emotion, the toughest roadblock that we are dealing. And fear is just showing us the what, that's the roadblock. Does that make sense? And so when you see the roadblock, I always ask for guidance, ask for help in that, ask the archangels. And then as humans too, we're pretty driven. We want to see it all at once. And the universe operates just on a small vibration. The universe only gives us a big blast of energy when we don't pay attention to the little things. So the universe actually starts to respond on the small steps. Okay? Does that make sense? So let's say you know you have to move. Start cleaning out your closets. Start talking about moving. Start packing up some boxes. That's the little energy. But if we say, oh my gosh, I have to go get approved, I have to go look for a house, I have to go, we get overwhelmed. So it's, again, the universe only smacks us when we've been ignoring all those. The universe actually is very gentle. It gives us clues along the way, and it responds to those subtle clues along the way. So use them. Let go of the, it's got to be all or nothing. And so many of our teachings have been around that. You got to be all in or it's not worth it, right? But vibration, think of it as a tiny snowball that you're rolling, and the universe will start to respond, and the universe will start to speak back to you on that small vibration. So I hope that helps. Okay. And even when it comes to fear, sometimes we can't pinpoint what the roadblock is underneath, but that's actually what the universe is showing us this year, where our roadblocks are, where we need to change. But sometimes we have a hard time seeing it because we're afraid to look. We're afraid to kind of pull back the cover and see what's there. And so start to do practices around fear. Fear itself, breathing exercises, meditation, music, because fear gets stuck in our belly. You ever feel it in your gut? Well, your gut is your solar plexus, and that's where creativity comes from. And creativity is what we need to have creative ideas for problem solutions. Does that make sense? So it becomes a roadblock for us because we collect it in the gut. And then we also collect it, it moves from the gut into the throat. So then we don't speak about what we need. We shut down here. So start small. Sing, hum, open that up. Okay, great question. Thank you. All right, other questions? Time has gone way too fast. I do want to do a meditation. I do want to bring light and love in because I know it's been an incredibly challenging year, a challenging time on all different levels, all different walks of life. We're all impacted by this. So just find a comfortable place. You don't have to move. If you want to lay down. I see someone driving, so dear, you can't lay down. But I'm just going to start some music in the background here. And just take a breath and relax. And we've been in this beautiful circle of love this morning. The angels have come in and have reminded us that we're not alone, and that our experiences that we have now here on earth and in our lives have all been coordinated, have all been orchestrated. They are under control, and we're a part of that. We're playing a role in this. And so they're thanking each and every one of you for stepping onto stage, for stepping into this role that you took on. The importance of your being, the importance of your light, the importance of your love. You can take a moment and just allow the light and the love of the angels to wash over you. And Archangel Michael, I ask that you wrap your wings around each and every one of these people here. That you wrap your wings and wrap your energy around the situations, the turmoils, the troubles, the emotions that need help in seeing clarity and bringing healing energy to them. And Archangel Gabriel, I ask that you wrap your wings around us. Bring that joy and that peace and that light and that creative child energy back into us. And Archangel Raphael, work with our souls, wrap your wings. I invite the legions of your angels to enter our energy realms, our planet, our earth, go where we're needed to heal those things individually, those ancestral wounds that we carry, the imprints, the collective conscious, the collective energies that need to shift. And with this, that you carry peace and calm and faith and hope, reigniting the light within us. And with this, you might feel warmth within your heart. And Archangel Uriel, I ask that you hear our prayers this morning. You take our wishes, our dreams, our visions, all the asks that we have, and take them to the heavens to be heard, to be refined, to be manifested. And I ask the Divine Mother energy, the Divine Father energy, you represent the masculine and the feminine energy. May you bring your rays of light down through the top of our head, moving all the way through and all the way down to the bottoms of our feet. And as we breathe in this energy, we expand our energy field, knowing that we are powerful, we are divine, we are filled with your love. In the grand scheme of things, this time is direction setting. It is a moment of time that allows us to set a course for the future. And each and every day we have this ability to decision that course that we're going to take, because we are such powerful beings. We belong to powerful collective consciousness of other heart-centered beings that also at this point and this time right now are also sending their heart energy up and out. And as that energy moves up and out, it comes back to us 1,000-fold. We ask the ancients and the elders and the wisdom keepers, the astral beings of other dimensions, that you also help us now, because we need new modalities, we need new things in our life. The old ways no longer work. Help us tap into those ideas, those creative thoughts that carry us forward to this lifetime and to future lifetimes. Just for a moment as you breathe, notice where in your body you might be feeling this energy. Are you feeling it in your legs? This might be the universe confirming for you the steps forward you need to take. Are you feeling it in your belly? This is your creative energy. Are you feeling it in your heart? Are you feeling the tingling in your throat or in your sinuses? I'm encouraging you to speak out, speak up, use your voice. Are you feeling it behind your eyes or your forehead? Maybe it's to see beyond what you see now, to see into the other dimensions. Maybe it's in the top of your head, the connection to other realms, other dimensions. As you take the next breath in, pull that energy all into your core, knowing that you're always connected. Your energy is always centered. And as you come back from this meditation, wiggling your fingers, your toes, breathing, knowing that all is as it's meant to be, knowing that your path is clear. Take a deep breath and relax. And I want to thank all of you for joining us today. And I want to thank Lake Harriet for sponsoring this. And Lake Harriet is donation based. So I'll just ask if you have an opportunity, if you could go to their website. There's an offering basket that if you are able to drop something in. It's a gathering place for all of us to support each other. I want to thank all of you today for joining us. And have a beautiful, blessed Sunday. All right? Thank you so much. Namaste.